Greetings and welcome to Gentle Back Care Yoga. In today's practice, it would be helpful if you had some kind of a yoga strap, and it doesn't have to be a yoga strap, it can be any kind of strap, and 2 blocks and some kind of a blanket that you could roll up. And if you don't have blocks, a couple throw pillows could serve us as well. Let's begin our practice laying down on our backs. So move your props to the side. Gently roll yourself down and bend your knees. So this positioning of the body is known as Constructive Rest Pose, where we bend the knees, feet are on the floor, and in this way the low back can release. Wiggle your shoulders a little bit apart and the head's neutral. You can have a little tiny lift behind your head. I've often suggested like a folded hand towel works well. So yoga is a beautiful way to reconnect to what's happening in the mind and the body. So we'll start with the breath. Rest your fingers on your low belly and close your eyes and begin to turn your focus in to notice the inhale through your body and the exhale. And don't be too concerned about the length of either one. Just begin to notice the next breath that's coming towards you and how the belly will rise just a little on its own to receive that breath, and the exhale to release. One of the foundations of yoga is called ahimsa, no harm. So no harm to ourselves and our thoughts and our actions as we move through our practice today is the essence of yoga. So let's start with a gentle movement. Release your hands and let's walk the feet in so the knees come together and the ankle bones, but the feet are still on the floor. And sway your knees a little to the left, but keep your feet on the floor. And bring your knees back to center and sway them a little to the right. So this is called the Sacral Sway. And remember, the sacrum is that inverted triangle above your tailbone. So as we sway the knees, we're gently rolling across the sacrum from side to side. So we'll just do this for a few moments, but you could incorporate this into your own home practice. Anytime you feel a little tenderness or tension in your low back, just come back to your yoga mat into constructive rest pose, and then a gentle sway like this for even up to 5 minutes is very helpful and beneficial. But bring that back to stillness and walk your feet and your knees about hips distance apart. And one of the things we seek in our back care practice is to begin to notice when the spine is in a neutral position. So there's the curve at the back of your neck, the cervical spine, and as you go down your spine, the thoracic spine, your ribs, and at your back waistline, there's a little arch there too into the lumbar spine. So if you can, kind of wiggle your shoulders apart, lift your hips, and notice there's just that whisper of an arch at your back waistline. I always think of like a number 2 pencil. You could slide in one side and out the other. So as we start to move, it's a valuable tool to begin to know when your spine is neutral. So let's exhale and press the belly down so there's no arch. Your sacrum is lifting off the floor. And then when you inhale, release it and come back through neutral. And then draw your tailbone down so your pelvis is tipping forward and you're overarching. So let's move in that way a few times. Exhale, draw your belly in. Draw your pubic bone a little towards your navel. And then when you inhale, release that and tip just slightly, not too far. And again, exhale. And inhale. So as you continue with this movement, notice, it's pretty amazing that the whole body is actually involved in this, which reminds us that one part of the body, if we could focus on that, the rest of the body receives. When you exhale and press your belly down, you might notice your head slides a little, your chin might lift. And when you inhale and tip your pelvis, your chin will drop. So again, the whole spine is involved in this simple pelvic tilt or pelvic rock. And then rock back into what feels like your neutral spine. Bring your right knee up towards your chest, relax your shoulders, and reach up through your right heel. Flex your foot. This is called dorsiflexion for your ankle. And look at your toes, they're pointing straight back. Little bend to the knee. And then exhale, bend your knee deeper. This is your hamstrings in the back of your right leg relaxing. And as you inhale and reach up, notice the strength, the pull there. So again, exhale, bend your knee in, and inhale, reach up. Now next time when we bend the knee, we'll find the yoga strap and place it across the bottom of the right foot. I like to place it across the ball of the foot and then to make loops around the top of the hand and the palm. Walk your right thigh a little away from your belly. Bend your right knee, press up into the strap, and again, seek that sense of neutral spine. Now, as we get here, also check in with your shoulders. They're nice and heavy on your yoga mat. You're pressing evenly into the strap with all across the ball of the foot, so not collapsing in or out. And then if you like, start to glide your left leg long and flex your left foot as well. Lift your left knee, press up and out through your feet. This in Sanskrit is Supta Padagusthasana, big toe pose. And I'd love to start a back care practice to incorporate this at some point. And there's so much going on in the body, but we have the floor to support the spine. But on the right leg, we're reaching up and lengthening out those hamstrings. And the left leg is extended and we're getting into the hip flexors and into the psoas muscle. So let's stay for a few moments. Nice easy breath, reaching up and reaching out through both feet. It's almost as if your low back is the hub of a wheel and your legs are the spokes. And we want to make sure the hub is balanced. One more breath. Now take both straps into your right hand. And bend your left knee. And open your left knee to the side. So this is where you might want to use a block. Or not. Yogi's choice. You can also use little throw pillows here. So tuck the block behind. And begin to open your right leg towards the right. Place your left hand on your left hip bone, just to remind yourself to stay in neutral spine. Relax your shoulders. I'm going to have to scooch towards you a little bit because I ran into the wall. And again, have a sense of ahimsa, no harm, as you explore this, that we're not pushing past an edge. We just find that just right place. And once you anchor down through that left hip and you're nice and broad across your whole back of your pelvis, you could extend your left arm out and look past your left fingertip. So let your left hand be a little lower than your shoulder. Stay for another breath. Now use the strap to help pull your right leg back up. And then lift your left knee with your left hand and plant your left foot. Slip the strap off your right foot, bend your right knee, bring your right foot to the floor, and then just glide your right leg long and lazy for a moment. To let all those muscle fibers retreat and relax that we were kind of extending. And then we'll move that way on the other side. So bend your right knee, bring your right foot to the floor. Constructive rest pose. So we're going to call it CRP. So beneficial. Even just doing this laying down on your floor can be very beneficial to release pull and tension in your low back. So let's bring the left knee up and relax the shoulders. And we'll reach up through the left heel. So you don't have to hold on unless you want to. You can just reach up, bend your left knee a little, and flex your foot. Exhale, slow and easy, bend the left knee. And inhale and reach up through the heel. Exhale. So this is a very sweet and simple way to begin to coordinate movement with breath. So every one is a little different. So your tempo of extending on the inhale and bending on the exhale might be a little different than mine. But it's a lovely way to begin to cultivate that witness part of ourselves, to notice the subtleties. So next time your knee is bent, find your strap for the bottom of your left foot. Reach up. And again, make a loop around your hand. I just find this is a kindness to your fingers, so you don't have to grasp so hard. Walk your left hip a little away from your back waistline. Wiggle your shoulders down, bend the knee a little, and press up into the strap. And then you can just stay right here if you like, or also extend your right leg. Okay, so as you reach up and reach out. And for many people, a little inner rotation of the right thigh bone will center the right heel. Lift your right knee ever so slightly, press up through your left foot. This is one of the asanas. So asana means the pose or the seat of the pose that is used in the study of how yoga can help maintain and build bone density. So this is one of the poses I use in that class. And it's, as we think about it, it's pretty easy to understand why. Because again, through your left leg, hamstring muscles, back of the leg pulling on the hips and pelvis. The right leg extending, hip flexors pulling a little on the hips and pelvis. And that's what generates the bone density response in the body. So I like to linger here a little bit longer. It's recommended 30 to 60 seconds when you want to explore those poses. All right, so from here again, bend your right knee, bring your right foot to the floor, and take both straps in your left hand. Now you can open your right knee and place the block behind it, or a pillow, whatever you like, or just let it be right where it is, and begin to open your left leg. No matter how many times you have done this class, go in with your beginner's mind and explore. Keep your right hip heavy. And if this feels like you're too smashed up in your left hip, just move your left leg a little away. And at some point, if you want to, you can extend your right arm and look out past your right fingertips, or you can just stay face up. Bend your left knee a little. And when you're ready, begin to bend your right knee and bring your right foot to the floor and pull the strap, so help your left leg come up. Take the strap off your left foot, bend your left knee, bring your left foot to the floor and just glide it long and lazy for a moment. Set your strap to the side. Bend your left knee again, bring your foot in. Now this time the knees and the feet are hips distance apart, and reflect back to the beginning of the sacral sway when the feet were together, knees were together, and now they're hip distance apart. So as we drop both knees towards the left, roll to the outside edge of your left foot and a little to the inside edge. Keep your shoulders and shoulder blades down. And maybe you just go halfway. It's okay. Listen to what the body has to say about it. Pull your belly in. Inhale up. Plant your feet. And just pause right there. Inhale, both knees to the right. Roll to the outside edge of your right foot, inside of your left. Exhale, draw your belly in and come up. Let's do that one more time on each side, but when the knees go to the left, we'll turn our head to the right. Inhale, knees to the left, and gentle roll of your head to the right. Exhale, draw your belly in, knees up, face up. And take both of your knees now towards the right and roll your head to the left. This is just a nice sense of wringing out the spine. Come up, all those paraspinal muscles. And then diminish it by half a little, just a little sway. And then smaller yet. Until you drop right into stillness, but imagine the echo of that movement throughout your body. Bring your right knee up and palm it. And bring your left knee up and palm it. And relax your shoulders. Arms are long. When we exhale, bring your knees in a little. So again, this is a nice way to begin a meditative movement. So we coordinate the movement with our breath. We wait for the inhale to float the knees away. And we wait for the exhale to bring the knees in. This slows everything way down. And again, inhale. And exhale. One more of those. Inhale away. And exhale in. Next time your knees are away, take your left foot to the floor and keep your right knee beneath your palm. Take your left hand back to your hip. Think of your left foot as being like an anchor, and we want to keep the left side of the body nicely attached to the mat. So as we open the right knee, we're going to take it in a little circle towards the armpit, and then out to the side, and then push it away till your arm is long at an angle, and bring it back up and towards your chest. So just a nice easy circle, and your hand is doing all the work. So let's do that with the breath. Inhale away. Exhale up and in. And one more just like that. Now next time your knee is in, push it straight away and reach up through your right heel again and flex your foot. Now rotate your right thigh so your heel is in and your toes are angling out. An outer rotation of your femur bone in your hip socket. And then bend this right knee and bring your ankle bone across the top of the thigh, so not on the thigh, but across. Wrap your hands around your hip bones, kind of square up your hips and your shoulders. Plant your left foot. Press out through your right foot, the ball of the foot, dorsiflexion for your ankle. And we do this because it helps keep the knee safer from torsion by engaging all these muscles that run up and down the shin bone. Arrive. This is eye of the needle pose, also called keyhole, has lots of names. But what we need to know about it is that it's getting into the piriformis muscle and the deep six muscles on the right hip. And through the piriformis muscle comes that sciatic nerve. And it runs very close to, or sometimes even through the piriformis. So this is very beneficial to keep that muscle group nice and opened and relaxed. Take a pause. I'd like to offer you some options. And I've called these bus stops before. So the first bus stop is to keep your left foot on the floor. The second bus stop is to lift your left foot and place it on a block. And the third bus stop is to bring your left knee up over your hip. I like to kind of hold on to my right hand, my right foot with my left hand, and to take my right hand and kind of open that right thigh a little away. Keep your left knee, whatever bus stop you're at, keep your left knee aligned with your hip and kind of your shoulder, and think about dropping your right hip just a little. So again, very important to keep your right foot flexed to help your knee. Relax your shoulders. And if you feel like you went too far on the bus stop, just get off and go back to the last one. Find your breath. Now that left knee might want to sneak in at some point to center. So check in to where is it in space and align it with your shoulder. And then wherever you've landed again, let's take the right heel back up. And this time point your toes and circle, both directions. So part of having a happy back is also having a strong back and a strong core, front body. So we'll do just a very simple movement to help us build a little strength, especially to support the lumbar spine. So as we move through this way, I'd like you to think about your torso not moving. That your low back especially stays adhered to your yoga mat, like there's a Velcro strip across it, and your shoulder girdle too. So let's reach up, right leg, left arm. Drop your shoulder. Your thumb is pointing back. Take your right hand to your low belly to help. Notice when your pelvis wants to tip, then pause. So inhale, start to lower your right leg and reach back with your left thumb. Your shoulder is heavy and just go to that just right place for you. So the floor is not our goal. To keep the arms straight, thumb pointing down, and to lower the heel, that's where we're going. The belly's working, the pelvis isn't tipping. So you can help yourself come back up by pushing down through your left foot and returning to where we started. So we'll do that with a couple breaths. Ready? Inhale, open to your level, not mine. Push down with your left foot a little. Exhale, return. One more, just like that. Inhale. And again, your whole torso is stable. It's just the arms and the legs that are moving. And then exhale, come up nice and slow. Bend your right knee, bring your right foot to the floor, and release your left arm. And just imagine your right hip is sinking a little deeper towards the floor. And you know, it really feels that way, so maybe it is. Now, let's walk the feet wide as your yoga mat, out to the edge. So your knees are wider than your hips, your feet are wider than your hips, and we'll sway again. Drop your knees towards the left. And just hold here for a moment. That was a pretty deep exploration into the right hip, so we're rotating it in now, where we were rotating it out a moment ago. And be mindful about your right knee. So we're not pushing with the knee, we're just letting this outer rotation of the thigh bones happen. Draw your belly in, come up, knees up. And then take both of your knees towards the right. And as you go, you roll to the outside edge of your right foot and a little to the inside edge of your left. Relax your shoulders and just pause. Draw your belly in and come up. Other side. So we'll bring the left knee in and palm it. Take the right hand to the hip bone. And we'll start to circle that knee a few times. Open to the side. And then push the knee away. And bring it back up. And back towards the chest. So again, think about your hand taking your knee in a bit of a circle. Around. Back up. And in. The pelvis is stable. Use your breath. Inhale. Exhale up and in. Now move your knees straight away till your arm is long. Reach up with your left heel, flex your foot. And again, we'll rotate the left thigh so the toes angle out. And we'll bend the left knee and bring the ankle bone across the top of the right thigh. Align your right heel with your right hip and your shoulder. Keep that dorsiflexion for your ankle. And just let that left thigh open ever so slightly. But wrap your hands around your hips so we're very careful that we're not lifting the right hip to open the left thigh. So stability right there. And then remember the options, the bus stops. Right foot on the floor, right foot on a block, or you can bring your right knee up over your hip. But again, that right knee might want to sneak in, so keep it aligned with your shoulder, with your hip, and descend this left hip a little bit. Relax your jaw, your shoulders. Take a few moments. This is pretty deep hip opener for most people. And I love that sometimes it's called reverse pigeon pose. If you're familiar with pigeon, the front knee would be in this configuration, but the back leg would be behind us, we'd be on our belly. So we can get into that same part of the body, into the hip, into the piriformis, but still be on the back body to support us. And when you're ready, take your right foot to the floor. If it's not there already, reach up with your left heel, flex your foot. Now, your right knee is bent, your right foot's on the floor. And you can take your left hand down beneath your navel on your low belly just to help give that tactile sense if the pelvis wants to tip. We want stability. Extend your right arm, drop your right shoulder. And take your first one and go just not as far as you think you might go. So when you inhale, open, lower your leg, reach back with your thumb a little, like a pair of scissors. Press your belly down. Look at your toes, they're pointing straight, aligned with your hip. And then exhale, come up. So remember, you can push down with your right foot if you need a little help coming up. Inhale. Exhale. And again, one more. You got it. Keep your right arm straight, but your shoulder down. Exhale, come up. Bend your left knee, bring your left foot to the floor. Release your right arm. Sway the knees just a little side to side. And we'll roll to a side and make our way up to table pose, hands and knees. Now, if you have a blanket and you like using a little cushion for your knees, go ahead. You can open this up, put her in this configuration. And again, it's not necessary. Some people just like it. So let's come to table. Hands and knees. Spread your fingers wide. Point your thumbs towards one another. Look at your knees. They're hip bones distance apart. Lift your belly, the back of your skull. Press through all of your knuckles. And on your inhale, cat back. Exhale, cow spine. We'll take it into a little bit of child's pose. So inhale, cat back. Exhale, pull your hips back. So again, this is to your comfort level. Maybe you just go part way or sink a little deeper. On your inhale, round back up into your table. So let's begin to move in that way as a bit of a flow. So again, you want to connect to your breath pattern. Spread your fingers. Inhale, round into a cat. Exhale, pull your hips back, even just a little or deeper. Grip your mat with your finger pads. Inhale, round back up through a cat. And exhale, pull your heart forward. So this is important to note. We want to lift the belly a little so we don't collapse L4, L5. And pull your chest a little forward. Your head is lifted, but it's not dropping back. So play with those few things. Draw your shoulders away from your ears. Inhale, cat. Exhale, pull your hips back. Again, this is your version of Balasana, child's pose, nobody else's. Inhale, round back up. Exhale, pull your heart through. Inhale, cat back. Exhale, pull your hips back. Inhale, round up. Exhale, cow spine. Come back to your table pose. And if you have a blanket under your knees, move it to the side. Walk your hands a little forward and come onto your forearms and come your knees back and come onto your belly. Walk your elbows forward. This is called Sphinx Pose. It's a little bit of a belly down back bend. So press through the top of your feet. Press through your very top of your upper thighs. Your pubic bone presses down. Lift up your shoulders. Lift your belly. So again, we're not collapsing. Let your heart pull forward. Press down through your forearms. Stay for a moment. So at this point, the vertebrae in your spine are rather compressed. And we're using our front body and back body strength to stay upright. Exhale, lower. Let your hands slide beneath your shoulders. Let your forehead touch the mat. Tuck your toes under. Draw your elbows in. Inhale, come up through Cobra, Bhujangasana. Keep looking down. Keep pushing. Come up onto your knees. And again, rock your hips back into your version of child's pose. So I'd like to give you another option if you have tender knees. You can take that folded blanket and place it on top of your calves so it's right behind your knee crease. So you can still go into your child's pose, but there's a little support here. So you're not going quite so deep. So whichever way you'd like to do, come in, but take your knees wider. Your big toes can come together or not. And then sit upright in your child's pose. We'll get now a little bit into that quadratus lumborum, the QL, which has a lot to do with pelvic torsion. So we want to walk the hands over towards the right. Keep them shoulder distance apart. Drop your hips. And then release your head so your ears are aligned with your upper arms. And just check in that your shoulders are at equal distance away from the floor. You can also have your forearms down if you'd rather. And if you think about what is our intention in getting into this pose, it's to expand out through the left back body into that QL. Stay for another breath. Walk your hands back to center. So it's like doing crescent pose, but from a kneeling child's pose doorway. So now we'll take our hands over and walk them towards the right. And the hands stay shoulder distance apart. Drop your hips a little. Release your head. Roll your shoulders away from your ears. The head isn't hanging. It's actually just nice and level, the back of your skull. And take a couple breaths into your side body. Now into your right side body. And come back to center. Walk yourself back up. And if you like using a blanket for your knees again, you can bring it back. There's a little bit of adjusting that goes on here. And we'll come up into standing on our knees. If you want to use a blanket, you can. So come onto your knees. And we'll have them a little bit apart. Roll your shoulders down. And then, so sometimes it's easier to find the floor and step your right foot forward. If you want to try that, go ahead. And then come on up and wrap your hands around your hip bones. So for most of us now, we have the right foot forward and the right hip is forward too of the left. So we want to bring symmetry into that. So pull your right hip back a little. You can kind of press in with your foot and pull. Lift your belly. Relax your shoulders. Press through your back foot as much as your front. And think about your inner thighs drawing a bit towards one another. Hollow out your belly energetically. Let's keep the right hand on the right hip to keep it anchored, and open the left palm and come up into another version of a crescent shape for your spine. Press through both feet. Pull your skull back. And remember, ahimsa, no harm. If you press through your back foot, you're taking some of that pressure off your knee. So come up, inhale, and exhale. Now open your arms, press through both feet, rotate your heart to the right, take the back of your right hand down by your sacrum, and reach across with your left arm, just maybe to your outer thigh. Rotate your heart a little bit. Draw your belly in, press through both feet. Come back to center, and perhaps notice how much your legs are working to keep you upright. And lean forward, find the floor, switch out the knees, bring the left foot forward in whatever way you can get there. Little space between the inner knee and the inner foot of the left foot. Bring your hand up to your left hip and your right and try to level them out. So a nice way to explore that is to energetically pull your foot towards you without actually moving it, and that will resonate in your pelvis. Think about rotating this thigh under, drawing your belly in. Keep your left hand on your left hip, press through your back foot, press through your front foot. Inhale up, nice and slow. Your hand doesn't have to get very high, drop your shoulder. Come up and over into a little bit of crescent. Now, bring those front ribs in, skull back, press through both feet. This is getting you a little bit deeper into that psoas muscle. Inhale up and exhale down. Draw your inner thighs a bit towards one another, float your arms. Rotate your heart towards the left. Bring the back of your left hand down by your sacrum, pull your belly in towards it, and then bring your right hand across. Rotate your heart. Stay tall, press through both feet. Come back through center. Bring your hands to the floor, back to your knees. So to come up to stand, I like to give you an opportunity to decide if you want to use your blocks. You could come up, so here's your blocks. Come onto your knees again, take a foot forward. Tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee, and step through into a forward fold. So if you want to do that, that's great. If you would rather explore downward facing dog to walk ourselves up to that forward fold, that's the other option. So, let's move the blanket away. If you're going into down dog, spread your fingers again. Walk your knees back a little so you're not on table anymore. And tuck your toes under. Press through all of your knuckles. Lift your hips up and press back. Now bend your knees and swoop your tail up. So we don't want to lengthen the legs because that'll pull the tailbone down and make your low back a little rounded, where we want neutral spine even here. So bend your knees, swoop your tail up, draw your belly in, Roll your arms away from your ears and press into the base of your thumb and your index finger, and then release your heels. Stay for a breath. And then decide if you're going to walk your hands towards your feet or your feet towards your hands. Doesn't matter. Let's all meet up in our forward fold, Uttanasana. Now bend your knees quite deeply. And for back care, it's important that we keep the bend to the knee. Because if we don't, these tight hamstrings could pull here. And we want to, again, cultivate that neutral spine. So drop your tailbone, wiggle your hands into your hip creases, press down through your feet, and rise up. Nice and slow. Push down through your feet. Use that energy, that rebound of your feet through the earth. Once you arrive, let's come to stand in mountain pose. In mountain pose, the feet are hip distance apart. Let's build it from the feet up. So the four corners of your feet are connected, knees a little bent, lift your belly, shoulders down, turn your palms to face. And when you inhale, come up and bend your elbows, bring your hands together, exhale to your heart. Inhale straight up, and exhale, press down. Let's add a shoulder roll. Now bring your right hand back to your hip, and it's not at your waist, it's lower. And open your left palm, and kind of rotate this upper arm so your thumb is pointing back. Bend your knees a little, reach up, kind of scoop up, and come over into a standing crescent. Now, once we arrive here, let's build it again from the feet up. So all four corners, knees a little bent. Draw your belly in, ribs down, but skull back. Shoulders are aligned, and then we can reach a little. So we've done this already from our child's pose, from our low lunge kneeling, and now we're doing it from standing. And this is going to help us get ready for our side angle pose. So inhale up and exhale down. Let's do another one on this side. Make a little cup with your hand and dip down like you're dipping into a pool of water. Scoop it up. Inhale and exhale, splash it over. Inhale up. Exhale down. And again, another scoop. So inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale your arm all the way down, and let's do a shoulder roll. Other side. So bring your hand down by your hip crease, open up your right hand, and you rotate from the upper arm bone, so it's like a hitchhiker thumb. Make a little cup with your hand, bend your knees a little, and just notice if you're leaning forward on your toes more than your heels, try to find that balance. Lean over, inhale up. Exhale to the side. Now make sure when you get here, you're not swaying your back, that there is a little lift to your belly. Inhale up and exhale down. Let's do a little scoop. So scoop, inhale, exhale. And again, try to find your own sweet edge, not pushing past. Inhale up. And last one, nice little scoop. Exhale down. Start your inhale whenever you want. Exhale over. Inhale. And exhale. Lovely. Shoulder roll. So those movements, those side bending movements, have set us up nicely for side angle pose. So let's take the feet wider. Hands on the hips, elbows out in your superhero pose. And then lift up your left foot and rotate. And pull back a little with your right heel. And try to align heel to heel. Thereabouts. And then bend your front knee right over your heel and rest your palm on it. Try to stack your shoulders. So get your right shoulder over your left, scoop your left hip under, draw your sacrum towards your heel. Stack those shoulders again. So you might decide your stance should be smaller, closer, or wider. Doesn't matter. So as we arrive, again, think about drawing the pubic bone up a little and check in with the sensations of your back foot. You're not collapsing out nicely right there. And then if you like, you can just stay right here, or also bring your right arm up, draw your shoulder down, and lean a little deeper. Push down with your feet, come up, and release your arm. Roll your shoulders. Bring your hands to your hips so you feel your pelvis is neutral this way, and now bend your knee. So it's a little different than side angle as we were tipping. Now we're neutral. Bring your belly in. Bring your hands to your heart. And press your feet evenly as you rotate your heart to center. Open that left knee and come back. Let's try this way. Bring your fingertips to your thighs so you can tell if that knee wants to wobble. Keep it still. And extend out through your right arm. Look at your fingers. Lift up your left arm and turn your head to your left fingertips. Energetically pull your heels a bit towards one another. Reach with your fingers, relax your shoulders. Come into your Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Exhale, press your hands down and lengthen your leg. Walk your feet in. Pause. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So we'll lift up the right foot and pull back with the left heel just a little bit. So heel to heel alignment, you might need to walk your feet one direction or the other. Bend your front knee over your heel. And in this position of going into side angle, the pelvis does tip. Whereas in Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2, the pelvis is neutral this way. Okay, so hand on the thigh, lean into it. Now scoop your hip under, stack your shoulders, draw your tailbone towards your heel, hollow out your belly. And then you can decide that I'm just going to keep my hand here on my side, or bring it up and over. Bring your ribs down, stack your shoulders, get up a little higher if you can't quite stack your shoulders. When you're ready, push down through your feet, come back up, lengthen your leg. And then, of course, now we're going to transition to that neutral pelvis. So we want to bend the front knee. Let's go ahead and bring the right fingertips to the inner thigh. Keep the knee right over the heel. Lift your belly. Bring your left hand across your right shoulder and look out past your fingertips. Then go ahead and float up with your right arm and turn your head to gaze at your right fingertips. Warrior 2. Spread your toes. Exhale, press, and come down. Lovely. Walk your feet in, heel toe, or hop in. And come into a bit of a squatting position so we can find our block or pillow, whatever you have, a little throw pillow. And bring it to the inner thighs. Roll your inner thighs in a bit. Uttanasana chair pose. Float your arms. Bring your shoulders down. And then pull your hips back like you started to sit into a chair, but somebody was pulling it. So keep reaching towards it. Sit upright in your chair. Draw your belly in. Just take a peek at your toes. You can see all of them. And then tip over Find the floor, knees deeply bent. Take the block away. Bring one knee down at a time. Come to sit, how we started, and have your block ready. We're going to use it again. Actually, we'll use both again. And then just scooch up a little so when you do lower down, your head is not on the floor. It's still on your yoga mat. And then use your block between the thighs, just like we did a moment ago. Bridge pose is a back strengthener. So as we hold the block, the feet are also hip distance apart. Let's do this variation where we bend the elbows, walk them in, tuck the shoulder blades under, and then rotate the palms so they face back. Spread your fingers. Neck is neutral, so you don't have a lift behind your head. When you exhale, press your belly down into that pelvic tilt a little, and then scoop your hips up off the floor. Pull your knees a little forward. Press down through your feet. Press down through your upper arms. Use your glutes, your bum. So kind of squeeze your bum to lift your hips. Stay for a few breaths, building back strength. Neck is neutral. Press evenly through all four corners of your feet. Keep drawing your tailbone towards your calf muscles. And then exhale, slowly lower. Lift your heels, push with your toes, bring your knees in towards your chest. And rock forward and away a couple times. So release any tension that might be residing there deeper in your back. And then bring your block away 1 foot at a time. Walk your feet in again as we began in the sacral sway. Knees together, ankles together, sway just a couple times to the right and left. Come into center. Open the knees away from one another. Bring your feet together and use your blocks. So again, every body is different. So to use your blocks, you could try on edge beneath the knee, if that settles your pelvis a little heavier. Or you could try flat. So wherever you land is the right place to be. Wiggle your shoulder blades apart. Just place your palms on top of your hip bones. Relax your shoulders and come into Baddha Konasana, this balancing pose for the back body, for the SI joint, for the hips. And just take pause. If you like a little comfort or just the weight of it, you could grab your blanket and just lay it across your lap even. Just the weight of it is sometimes enough to help us surrender the body a little bit more to the pull of gravity. Give your body the gift of stillness. And you could linger here longer, especially that you're supported with these props. But if you're ready to move along, you can move your blanket to the side, help your knees up, plant your feet, roll to the side, make your way to sitting. So sitting on the floor for people with back issues is sometimes very challenging. But let's go ahead and come up. I like to sit various ways. Sometimes hero's pose, straddling a block or two, or cross-legged. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Reach your fingers out to the side. And inhale your hands up. And exhale to your heart. Bow your chin, tip your pelvis so we can bow to one another and still honor the light within. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for your donations to this class. You can find that on our website, yogaloft.biz. Have a great day. Thank you.